Good evening, everybody. Kamari Ellis here, the Finance Rebel. Today, we're doing something a little bit different. We are streaming live on YouTube today because I have been wanting to talk about life insurance. I don't sell life insurance currently, but I used to sell a whole boatload of it. People brought a lot of policies from me. And today is September 18th, 2018, and it is Life Insurance Awareness Month. So I said, I haven't really seen anybody talking about life insurance. So I said, hey, you know what? I'll take it upon myself, since I haven't seen it, to talk about life insurance. So I called a bunch of my buddies who are life agents, who are good, reputable folks, and we are going to be talking about life insurance throughout the month. And so the first person that I called is Mr. Charles Tank Harris, who has been in the industry for quite some time. I'm not even sure how long, but I know he's an OG in the game. And we're going to talk about life insurance. Now, the particular angle, because everybody's going to have their own angle, and you'll see these coming through more and more throughout till the end of the month. But everybody's going to have an angle, because life insurance, while I feel is probably the best financial tool ever created, it's probably also the most complicated financial tool ever created as well. So we're just going to take off a nugget at a time and talk about life insurance to help people get a better understanding and truly understand the power of life insurance. How you doing today, Charles? Or should I
I'm
call
good,
you?
man. You know what? I'm gonna go professional. You can call me Charles, man. Let's see how that goes over with people.
I call you Mr. Charles. Mr. Charlie. Well, like I said, Charles is a life insurance professional. I'm not sure if he's going to talk about who he's affiliated with, but he's been in the business for a long time. I respect him, and I actually respect his knowledge and how he looks at the overall industry as well. So tell everybody about yourself, Charles, and how long you've been in the industry, and what drives you to be in the industry as well.
I appreciate you having me on the show, Kamari. Thank you very much. So I have been a financial services professional since 1997. I first started in the financial services industry with Solomon Smith Barney, and now I currently do all of my brokerage and investment work with New York Life Insurance Company and Nye Life Securities. However, as an insurance agent, I do also broker insurance from about 19 other companies. So based on my clients' needs, I'll either place them with the great New York Life or find another company that may have to touch on some of their specific needs and wants.
One thing a lot of people don't realize is that each insurance company kind of has their own niche. You know, some do better with or have special policies for smokers. Some people do well with sickle cell anemia. Some people do well with diabetes, cancer, so forth and so on. So I'm glad you brought that up, because they all are different.
And that's a great point that you make. And that's exactly why I'm appointed with so many different carriers, because, you know, New York Life happens to be one of the strictest underwriters of all of the carriers in the industry. And I love that, because as a policy owner, you are also an owner of the company. New York Life is a mutual company, and that means that the policyholders own the company. So you want your company to be as prudent as they can when it comes to underwriting and not take bad risks on. Unfortunately, though, the other side of that coin is I'm African American, do a lot of work in the African American community, and unfortunately, more often than I'd like to say, I run into health situations because people have waited till later in age to get their insurance. And in some instances, it rules them out of getting coverage from New York Life. So I'm appointed with companies, as you alluded to, that do more high blood pressure, that do, you know, things that we normally find us to get rated at New York Life. You can get a little bit better rating at some of the other companies I produce for.
Right. What made you get into the financial services arena?
So 20 some years ago, my best friend was playing for the Washington Redskins. We played collegiate football together, and he went on to go pro. I broke my knee and my career was over. I was working as a car note collector for Ford Motor Credit Company, which was a horrible job to have with a college degree. So I decided to take Ford up on their tuition reimbursement program and go to grad school.
Okay.
And while I was in graduate school, I get the call from my best friend saying that he wants me to manage his money, that Smith Barney had been on Temple's campus recruiting for their brokerage program, His girlfriend had all the information for me to go get it from her and get into this field. So that was my foray into financial services. My specialty into insurance happened more recently. About 6 years ago, I joined the mighty New York Life Insurance Company. Just actually not even understanding all that much about how insurance fit in to people's lives and their practice. I had personal insurance, but I just didn't think about to the level that I do now where insurance fits in most people's lives. It should be a priority, but you know what I tell people all the time? Insurance is sold. It is not bought. Very few people wake up and say, I got to bump up my insurance coverage to $1 million today. Just doesn't happen.
Why do you think that is?
You know, I think there's two reasons for that. The number one reason for that is people have a familiarity bias with their current situation. And in your current situation, you're doing okay. You're not dead. You're not crashed into a wall in your car. Your house is not burning down. Insurance is a planning device. In all of those instances, car insurance, homeowners insurance, life insurance, you are planning for a possible peril or loss to take place. And people get so comfortable in the fact that there's no loss taking place right now that they don't think about the planning element. That's the number one. There's just a disassociative mindset between when I will need insurance and whether I should buy it today. People like to believe that they can get their insurance the day before they need it.
Well, as a person who has gotten phone calls literally from people at the hospital when somebody was on the deathbed, I know that to be factual.
Yes. I've seen it way too often. You know, this past week, and I know we're talking about life insurance because it's Life Insurance Awareness Month, but I do a bunch of different insurances. One of them is also long-term care insurance. And I literally have gotten, this is not an exaggeration, 4 calls in the last 7 days from people who need help with their mom, their uncle, their loved one for some type of assisted living, a home health aid, and they need it today. When they call me, it's because they need the person to be in the facility. They don't need the long-term care insurance that I sell. They needed that 2 years ago. They need the help today. And, you know, I help people. That's what I do. You asked me why I got into this business. And I was saying the second reason is I have a server's heart. I want to try to make people's lives better. But it's sad to get the phone call after the fact. It's sad to get the request for help after help can't help anymore. So to speak.
Right. So what do you tell people? You know, what's the whole point of getting life insurance, and why do you want them to get it now?
So there's a couple ways to answer that. I'll go with the last part of that. Why do I want them to get it now? Because there's no more pressing time to fix a need than immediately. To coin Nike, just do it. Like, you have to take action today. In life insurance, there are 2 components that basically contribute to how much you'll pay for a premium. One is your age and one is your health. In most people's situation, they will never be younger or healthier than they are the second I'm talking to them. Almost no one's going to be younger unless they have some secret serum I don't know about. And most people won't be healthier. Now, I always say most because I actually am an outlier to that comment. I weigh 500 pounds. If I chose to get my chunky butt on a treadmill, I could actually be healthier 6 months from now. So that I'm unique in that regard. The average person will not be healthier than they are today. You know, you run. I did an insurance policy on a person. We took his application on Monday. He literally asked me if he could forego the medical part, the blood and urine and everything, because he had just taken a complete physical for his job the previous Friday. I'm sorry, a week prior to that Friday.
Right.
So he had the results back, stellar health, everything was fine. I told him, unfortunately, we couldn't take those results. We had to send a nurse out to do blood and urine. They did blood and urine on him 4 days later, so it was a Thursday, and they found something in his health that, not that the first people missed. They didn't miss it. It would have been impossible to miss.
They didn't screen for it.
No, it didn't exist. It wasn't wrong with him the week before. Like literally something they had tested that was fine 11 days ago was no longer fine. He contracted something, I'm not going to go into his medical thing, but basically came down with something that made him a higher risk to be insured. And, his exact words to me was, I wish I would have talked to you 2 weeks ago. Now, you bought the insurance. It was $20 more a month to get it, which wasn't price prohibitive for him. But for some people, that's the decision maker between I'm getting it and I'm not getting it. So I tend to overspeak. So to go back to the point of your question, why is there a sense of urgency? It's a sense of urgency. And my main focus on getting people insured is let's not wait till you have more money to afford the insurance you think you need. Let's take the money you have today and buy as much as you can afford today. It may not be enough. In most instances, it's not enough, but it's more than nothing. So I say let's do it today.
Right. And what Charles was talking about in terms of getting it today is the process of insurance. You have to apply for insurance. You just can't walk up to a life insurance company and say, "What's up, dog? Give me a policy. I'll take that right now."
No doubt.
So you have to go through what they call underwriting. And so you have to give there are some exceptions, but you have to usually give blood and urine. And they want a history of what you're doing if you're traveling out of the country or if you do any drugs. I've had a couple of policies. More people do drugs. When you start doing life insurance, you find out more people do drugs than you realize. But that's a whole other side, right? So once you do that, it goes through it goes through the underwriting process. There's actually a person that looks at your policy, looks at your lifestyle, and they say, hey, this guy or this lady is a good risk for us, because believe life insurance companies are in the business of making money, but ultimately they want to issue out policies to folks because that's how they make money as well, by collecting your premium. But, at the end of all that, they say this guy or this lady is in good health, and we are willing to take on that risk to protect their life so they can pass on money to their loved ones if they decide to not be here, or not decide if they are not here with us, and let's say a day, 2 week, or year. And so usually what happens is we get older, right? Our health tends to get a little worse, as Charles talked about. We're moving less, we're eating worse, we're probably drinking more, and God knows what else we're getting into. All those things play factors into your overall life insurance, the cost of your life insurance, or the cost of your life insurance premium. So, Charles, you want folks to do it now.
I want them to do it now because, so many people, and they're sincere. Like, I'm a salesperson, so of course I get the blow-off statements. So yeah, see me in 6 months, see me in 9 months. But I have a lot of people who sincerely want to get the insurance, but feel as though they have to wait to afford it. And my thing is, that's some of the biggest mistakes I've seen made, people waiting till they can afford it. You can't afford to not have insurance. But it's funny, I tell people this almost in every sales presentation I'm in, jokingly. The government had to make it illegal to drive without auto insurance, or people would do it. Everybody would get in their car and say, "Oh, it's not me. I'm a great driver. I can do this without insurance. Why pay this X number of months?" And they would drive thinking that it's okay. And the same thing happens with life insurance. I wish they would make it a legal requirement. I'd sell a lot more insurance. But more importantly, like when you see, I made this statement one time, and I think I offended some people, but I'm known to offend people, so it didn't really bother me.
But you don't do it intentionally.
I don't do it intentionally. Yes. I think I was so disgusted with seeing somebody have a GoFundMe page on Facebook that I made a comment on Facebook saying, if you are an adult and you have small children under the age of 18, and you don't have life insurance, unfriend me. You're a bad person and I don't want to know you. Like, it was just that deep for me, because you have a responsibility to people. You bring these people into the world, and you're supposed to get them from A to Z, and you don't have the financial safety nets in place for something that happened to you to stop your hustle. And it disgusts me, because everybody I see, I very seldom, and I will go with everybody. Everybody that I see and talk to has a cell phone in their hand. They have all of these different things. I'm out and people are getting a cup of coffee or they're getting going to the movie. When you look at these various things that cost you money, and you mean to tell me you're not gonna call me up and tell me you don't have $30 a month to make sure your wife doesn't become a stripper when something happens to you? Like, come on, we can do better than this.
Well, one of the biggest excuses I used to get when people used to buy life insurance for me was that they didn't want their wife to get a pink Cadillac. And like I used to think that people were joking before I got into business, but I literally had men, well, and a few women, but men say that to me. And the other thing they would say is, I'm not going to die and leave all this money so they can move another man into the house. It was always the men, though, for the most part, right? It was always this sense of ego and bravado that wouldn't allow them to deal with the mortality of the issue, right? We're all going to die at some point. The question is, are we going to leave folks with, at least the same situation and when we're here, a better situation or a worse situation? And that's a choice, right? And most times you can mitigate that, right? Because life insurance, we also call it a risk management tool, because a lot of people don't realize that life insurance primarily is meant to replace income. Right. Somebody died. Let's say the average American makes, say, around $54,000, right? And so over their lifetime, let's say 20 years for children, growing up from 1 to 18, that's about $1 million. So when that person dies and, mama got a brand new baby, she's missing out on $1 million of income that's coming into the household. That's going to hurt. So she might wind up on the pole, like Charles said.
Shaking it fast. And we hope that she's,
or bringing in some man into the situation that doesn't need to be there.
Right. Do you want your kid changing schools, changing addresses because you didn't properly prepare? I mean, and Kamara, you and I share similar backgrounds and upbringing. I didn't grow up in wealth. I didn't grow up in an environment where anybody left me anything. And that's one of the things that really ticks me off. I have very close friends who I've had to have serious conversations with because they say stuff to me like, well, ain't nobody leave me nothing, so I'm not leaving anybody anything. Like, dude.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Is that what we're doing? Like, shouldn't we want the next generation to be better than we had it? Like, I want my kids. There is still time for me to make enough money to have a private jet and a yacht and to just do some of the wildest things that I ever dreamt of doing. But unfortunately for me, they're probably going to happen in my 60s if I get them done. I want my son to be on the French Riviera in his 20s on a yacht in Monte Carlo because dad did his thing. I want my grandson to be at Harvard, tuition fully paid for, because I did my thing. And it troubles me that we would even think to have a mindset of, I'm not leaving anybody anything because nobody left me anything. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Right. And, for me, it's not about money. And people get confused by that a lot of times when I say that. It's about wealth, and they're not the same. And so, you need money to have wealth, but they are two different and distinct things. And so with life insurance, with many other things, you can begin to help create wealth, transfer wealth, and make it better for the next generations. I mean, in the Bible, it says a good man or woman leaves an inheritance for his children's children. So not just not just your next generation, but the generation after that. I mean, that takes long-term planning. And again, people really don't like to think that long-term, in my opinion, and people do not like to deal with their mortality.
Agreed. And, to your point, I quote that scripture in the Bible all the time, but I've learned to come up with another quote for my people who may never crack the King James open. I go right to the Carter's album. And when Beyonce says, my great grandchildren already rich, that's a lot of brown babies on your Forbes list. So one of the main products that I do at New York Life and sell a lot of is juvenile life insurance. And, you get that question of why would I want to get a life insurance policy on my child? I don't want them to die. First of all, Sister Cleo, if you think that you can control when somebody's going to die or not die, well, let's go make some whole bunch of different money. You buying a policy does not, make anybody die any faster, or insurance companies wouldn't sell them. Mm-hmm. What the reality is though, I we have a policy concept at my company. We call it $1 Million Baby. And
Okay.
million dollar baby was created by a clever salesperson who was talking to one of his high net worth clients. She was a grandmother, and they were talking about her grandchild. And he said, what are your major concerns for your grandchild financially? And the woman said, in this order, I want to make sure he has enough money for college. I want to make sure he has enough money in retirement because I don't think Social Security will be around for him. And I would like to make sure that his first home or his wedding or his first home was paid for. If I could help out with those 3 areas, I would be very, very happy. He says, what if I told you there's a way for you to put away a lump sum right now today and to handle all of those things tax-free? And she said, I'd be all ears. So the woman had been giving her grandson the maximum gift amount under the law, which was $14,000 at the time. And I know that number is ridiculously high for a lot of people who may be hearing this. But what I always tell people, I can break that number down. If it's $14,000 a year for her, it could be $1,400 a year for you.
Right.
It's just a fraction. But what the woman did was she accelerated. I think the grandchild at that point in time was 4. She accelerated the next 14 years of money, put it all into a lump sum account that we have at my firm called a premium deposit account. And then that premium deposit account paid into a life insurance policy up until the time the child turned 18. At 18, the child was able to take $30,000 a year out of that policy for 4 years. That covers college. Then 10 years after that, at age 32, take out $50,000 to either pay for a wedding or a down payment on a house. And then go to age 67, they're taking $3,000 a month out for the next 10 years. That's all of the premium that this woman paid this money back to her grandchild tax-free, and still left an $850,000 death benefit for when her grandchild passes away sometime in the distant future for her great-grandchild to pick up the mantle with $850,000. If that's not making sure you have an inheritance for your child's child, or that my great-great-grandchildren already rich, I don't know what else can do that.
Yeah, I mean, that 14,000. I'm guessing maybe she was putting it into a. The
UGMA?
No, not an UGMA. The college savings plan.
529.
Thank you, 529. And even those have changed now, but you probably would get definitely more bang for your buck in a lot of regards putting into a life insurance policy.
Yeah, I mean, I go back and forth with people a lot trying to explain to them the difference between an investment and an insurance policy. I always say I don't want to compare the internal rate of return on my life insurance policy to the S&P 500. However, for a lot of people after taxes and on a risk-adjusted basis, the returns are quite comparable. And it's just a matter of, in my mind, you want to have a boat in every stream. There's nothing wrong with the market. I work in the market. And by market, I mean the stock market. There's nothing wrong with having tax-free future income. And that's what I use cash value life insurance for. So, and just to be clear with people, there are 2 different types of insurance. There's the cash value permanent kind of insurance, and then there's the non-cash value term insurance. And they both have their place in people's lives. I have seen a lot of financial instruments come and go. And what I tell people is I've yet to run across a truly, truly horrible financial services product. What I find are terrible marriages where the wrong product is with the wrong person.
Well, I have found a couple of terrible financial services. They were all annuities, though, for the most part. But I like yourself, I believe there are no bad tools. There's bad strategy. And a lot of times there's no strategy behind people using these tools. And, there's reasons for that, right? Most people have, and I'm speaking to the more wealthy, more successful, they might have a lawyer, they might have an accountant, they might have a quote unquote financial advisor / financial planner, they might have a life insurance person, and then they all kind of do their things separately. There's no cohesion, there's no team, there's nobody quarterbacking that team. And so, You'll have a hodgepodge or a mismatch of products sometimes that don't necessarily serve the client in the best fashion. But
Right.
I totally agree with you that um, you can do a lot with a life insurance policy. Everybody knows I love stock, I love investing, but like I was saying to you before, I can't really speak to another financial tool, right? Because we do want to make the distinction between investments and insurance, but another
Yep.
financial tool that is greater than life insurance. So, I'm a big advocate of life insurance. I believe in it. I think everybody should have it. I think everybody should have $1 million in coverage.
Minimum, bare minimum.
Yeah, if you got kids, I think you should have $1 million in coverage.
Let me
So,
ask you this. I tell people, think about having a machine in your basement. You have this machine in your basement, and this machine spits out $75,000 every year without fail.
yep,
That's what the machine does. It's a money machine,
yep.
and it spits out $75,000 every year without fail.
And that's
How
not
much?
taking off the base of the money. That's not depleting capital.
Yeah, not bleeding. Boom! It's just spitting it out, spitting it
Yep.
out, spitting it out. How much money would you pay to make sure that machine is always able to do its job? I get crazy answers to that. I've had people tell me they spend $70,000 a year because even though $70,000 is almost all the money, they still getting $5,000, and that's something.
Right.
So they would spend 70 grand to make sure this machine keeps spitting out 75. And I tell them, well, imagine that the machine is you. If you go to work and you make 75 grand every year, that's what you spitting out every year. So you can replace that 75 with whatever your income number is, what you make it work. Now, how much would you pay to keep that machine spitting money into your household? Your wife is expecting that machine to spit $75,000 out this year. If you go out and you get caught in the crossfire somewhere or something bad happens to you, that machine is gone now.
Right.
How much would you have paid to make sure that wifey kept that machine? $30 a month? $40 a month? Come holler at me. Like I can keep the machine on 24/7, 365 for $40, $50.
Yeah. I mean, again, I totally agree. I totally agree. I see it's getting dark on your side, though, Mr. Harris.
Yo, I'm sorry about
So
that.
I don't want to keep. No. I don't want to keep you out longer. I actually appreciate you taking the time to help inform the public because that's why I do what I do. I love investments. I do a lot of tax work, but my real passion is in overall education and just sharing information with the public, especially our community. So let the people know where they can find you. I know you're online everywhere, and I don't want to keep you out in the dark too long, but let everybody know where they can find you.
I appreciate that. So my name is Charles Harris. Many people call me Tank. You can call me anytime you wish, man. You might not get an answer, but you get an answer in service. My mobile number is 609-405-0775. I am on Instagram at New Life by Tank. I am on Facebook at New Life by Tank and Charles Tank Harris. And my email address is tankmoney, who I am and what I work with, tankmoney@yahoo.com. So you holler at your boy.
Okay, give me your phone number, your email one more time. Real slow.
Phone number is 609-405-0775. And the email address is tank, like an army tank, money. That's all one word, TANKMONEY at yahoo.com.
Well, I thank you today, Mr. Harris, for honoring us with your presence and sharing with us some wisdom and knowledge. Hopefully somebody can take this information and use it, right? Just don't listen to it. Just don't watch us. Take this information and put it to use. There's a lie going around. People always say knowledge is power. That's a lie. That's a flat, bold-faced lie. Applied knowledge is power. It don't matter if you know a whole bunch of stuff and you ain't doing nothing with it. And mind you, I'm a nerd. I love reading books. Probably you see all these books behind me for things that, I might not ever do. But I do know this. I got to apply a lot of the stuff that I come across. And I do apply it. So I want you to apply it as well. Apply this so to help you, your family, and your community by looking into life insurance. All right. So I'm going to be doing these with other agents, other life insurance agents that I trust. Every day, every other day. I haven't quite worked out the schedule because I kind of did it the last minute. Like I said, it's Life Insurance Awareness Month. I didn't see anybody talking about life insurance awareness. So I took it upon myself to say, you know what, we're going to talk about life insurance because it's necessary. It's very, very necessary. So stay tuned to the YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe and sign up for notifications. But I will be back talking about life insurance a little bit more in the next couple of days. I'll talk to you all soon. You all have a great night. And thank you for watching. Bye-bye.